Today we're going to be solving quadratic equations. But to first solve quadratic equations, we need to learn about the standard form, which is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. The first question will be x squared plus 4x minus 12. To do that, we're going to have to find two terms that equals negative 12 but add up to 4, which would be positive 6 and negative 2, which means x plus 6 and x minus 2. And then we're going to have to set them to equal to 0, which will mean x plus 6 equals 0 and x minus 2 equals 0. Then we're going to have x by itself, so we have to subtract 6 from both sides, which means x equals negative 6. And then add 2 to both sides, which means x equals positive 2, and that would be your answer. For the next problem, we're going to be doing x squared minus 3x plus 18. And two numbers that multiply 18 and add up to negative 3 would be x minus 6 and x plus 3. And then we have to set them equal to 0. So that would mean x minus 6 equals 0. And then we have to add 6, which would mean x equals 6. And then x plus 3 equals 0. And subtracted 3. Which means x equals negative 3. Wait, maybe it's better different color. And let's do pink. So plus 6 x equals 6. And then subtracted 3, which will mean x equals negative 3. And those are going to be your answers. For the next problem, x squared is going to be negative, which will be negative x squared plus 12x minus 20 equals 0. And then we're going to have to get them to the other side of 0. That way, negative x squared becomes positive, which will mean plus x squared. Oh, that was too thin. Plus x squared minus 12x and plus 20. And then we're going to look for two terms that multiply 20 and add up to 12, which would be negative 10 and negative 2, which is x minus 10 and x minus 2. And then set them equal to 0, which would mean x minus 10 equals 0. And then x minus 2 equals 0. Then we're going to set the x by itself, which will mean plus 10 on both sides. and plus 2 on both sides, which means x equals 10 and x equals 2. And those would be your answers. The next thing we're going to be learning is the x method when a doesn't equal 1. And then which will mean we have to first draw an x. And we have to multiply a times c, which should be ac. And then at the bottom we put b. I'm going to have to find two numbers that multiply to ac and add up to b. And let's say they're both z. And then we divide them by a. It can be confusing at first, but it's better to try it out on a problem. So let's start off with 2x squared plus 5x plus 3. First, we're going to draw the x. Then we're going to multiply the 2 and the 3. And we're going to get 6. And then we're going to bring down the 5. Then we're going to get two numbers that multiply to 6 and add up to 5, which will be 3 and 2. Then what I have to do is divide by 2. And when you do 2 divided by 2, you get 1. And we're going to leave the fraction 3 over 2, which you get 2x plus 3 equals 0. And then x plus 1 equals 0. And then we're going to get the x by itself. So we're going to subtract 3 from both sides, which would mean 2x equals negative 3. Then we divide by 2, which means x equals negative 3 over 2. I subtract 1 from both sides, which would be x equals negative 1. And those will be your answers. Thank you for watching, and I hope this helped.